Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to set up your machine for embroidery, and I'm going to do a quick project on a burp cloth just because that's easy to use and it's cute and whatever comes out is fine, you know. I did do a practice run because I knew this was going to be one of those trial and error, hit and miss kind of things. Even though I had the older Futura, some things are completely different, some things are very much the same. So I was reading through the instruction manual and I had to flip back and forth between 2 or 3 or 4 different sections because some talk about this, some talk about that, some give you a tip to do something, some don't. So I'm like, why? They make it a little bit confusing, but I figured it out. So the first thing we want to do is work on our bobbin, okay? So before I even turn the machine on, there's a few things that we're gonna get to go do, and then switch out the this arm here. We have to take this out. This is just this regular sewing arm and put in the embroidery arm, okay? So I want to show you, I reset everything back to the way it was before I embroidered, because this is how it's going to come to you from the factory or whatever. So hope you can see everything. So basically, you're going to have to switch out the foot because you want the embroidery foot. This is just a regular presser foot. You're going to fill in the bobbin with bobbin thread. That for embroidery is a very thin thread, okay? It comes in little spools like this. This happens to be Gutermann brand, or I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Obviously it's German. They usually sell it like in white and black, maybe beige. Usually just very basic colors. It's very inexpensive and it's super thin, okay? For embroidery, this stuff is thin, thin, thin. So you'll see when you go to look at the embroidery threads, let's say you go to Joann or wherever you want to buy them at. So this one I've had for years and you can see there's still a lot on here. So I'm going to be using this one. I just wanted to show you when they're full, they look kind of like this. It's not shiny or anything. It looks like very, very, very thin thread. And I don't think it has a special name. This one just says embroidery at the bottom. So, but it has a lot more yards than the other ones. You'll notice the price difference and everything else. So I'm going to use this little guy. And then you're going to need a bobbin. And if you pop open, there's a little tab here that you're going to push to the side, and your little clear plastic cover will pop up. The bobbin, this already came with one in it. Obviously it doesn't have anything in it, but it's there. So I'm going to use this spool or bobbin to wind my bobbin thread around. I'm trying to think if there's a couple other things. Let's go ahead and switch out the foot before we even get to that part, because that way we can switch out the, just get everything going. So when you open this front box on your Futura Quintet, there's going to be different things in the bag. So what you're going to need from this bag is the little screwdriver to take the foot off. It comes with these little nylon hose, whatever you want to call them. They go over your thread to keep the thread from unraveling too quickly, and it really holds your thread back while it's on top if you're going to do the bobbin or if you're going to use it for embroidery. So these are really good to have, so I'm going to put those out. You're going to need the cap that keeps the thread held back, keeps your spool held back. So my spool is small, I just use a small one, but it does come with a large cap if you have a larger spool, but I don't know about a spool that's this big. This is really big. And then in here it also comes with, I think, 2 or 3 more bobbins, if you needed those for any reason. There's a couple other things that you might use, like this guy is, if you have a larger spool of thread, you can hook it up to this back part here. It'll fit right in this top area. Hopefully you can see it right where my hand is, but I'm not going to use that for right now. And so that's that. I think those are the only things you're going to need from here. I'm just going to close this back up. Okay, so inside the embroidery attachment, there's a little pocket here. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take out this pouch because we're going to need what's in here. So that does have more bobbins in it. And of course you want to keep these bobbins probably separately from the other guys, just so you know it's that very thin thread that's for embroidery. So I already did it because obviously, like I said, I did a trial run. So I'm going to keep this one in here. I'm going to show you guys how to do one. From here you're also going to need the embroidery foot, which is in this bag. So let's get that guy out. So let's go ahead and switch out the feet. I'm going to close up on that area, and we'll get started. I'm coming at an angle on the side here so that you can see there's a screw here. It's kind of large. And what you're going to do is just take, your little screwdriver, and I have this open. I probably should have done this separately, but that's okay. So we're just gonna unscrew it. So right, tighty, lefty, loosey. Of course, it doesn't take very much. And then you can it'll just pop out. What you need to do is kind of lift the presser foot. There's a presser foot lifter over here in the back. I know you can't see it because of the angle, but it's there. All you're gonna do is pick it up a little bit, and that'll kind of release this guy. So this is just your regular, everyday sewing foot. I'm gonna put this to the side. It comes off with the whole thing. We want the whole foot off. You don't want to just take off, which you can with these presser feet. You can just press this and the foot comes off, but that's not what you want. You want the whole guy to come off. And now I'm going to grab my embroidery foot, and it has the same kind of little space in here like the presser foot that we just took off, and you're just gonna bring it up under. And again, if you need to lift the presser foot to get it in there better, you're just gonna bring it up under and make sure that there's a couple things. So you want that area to go behind that screw and all the way up, okay? All the way up. And then with the old machine, basically once you put it in, it's gonna be in the right position, but that's all you're gonna need to do. And then just take your screwdriver and tighten it up as well as you can. You can bring the press foot down, I guess, if it helps you to kind of hold it, but just bring it down and tighten it up. And that's ready for the embroidery now. Okay, you want to do it now before you put the big embroidery foot or embroidery arm on there, because it kind of gets in the way with this big old area here. So you want to do that now. I mean, you can remove this too if you wanted to do that, but there it is. So now what we're going to do is work on filling up the bobbin thread, and then we'll place it in here. So for this point, I'm going to turn the machine on. Nothing else is plugged in. I don't have the presser foot plugged in, or what am I talking about? The pedal or anything, because you don't need any of this stuff yet. So right now it's just plugged in and plugged into the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine on. It's gonna think about it for a second. I'm just gonna replace this just so I don't end up losing or getting it anywhere. Okay. So hopefully you can still see. I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. You can see all my cleaning products back there. So this is kind of interesting. I tried to fill up the bobbin when I had the embroidery foot on, and it wasn't going. So I don't know if it was just user error or if you have to not have that on for this to work, for it to engage. Okay, and it is an automatic bobbin system. So what's pretty cool is I'm gonna take my little thread, and since it's just for the bobbin part, I'm not gonna put the sleeve on it, but if you wanted to put the sleeve on it, let's say it's unraveling too quickly or whatever, you just open this guy up and put it in, and that's it. So you do the same thing for the embroidery and then just place it here, okay? I'm not gonna use that right now. I'm just gonna leave it off. So you're gonna take your thread that you wanna use for the bobbin, put it right in there. Take your little cap and put the cap right in front. It's kind of a lot of setup. I did my run through earlier, it took about an hour and a half, but I had to read and do other things, so, you know. So now you have your end of your thread. I know it's very hard to see, but what you're gonna do, and the book shows this very clearly a lot, you're gonna bring it around. There's a hook here. Under the hook, there's gonna be a big white area here, and it shows a picture of it, so you don't have to remember this. So bring it here. You're gonna bring it around this tiny little hook right here, and then into that circle. Okay, just right into this little circle area. I know it's very hard to see, but like I said, the book really shows that, and you'll have, and maybe when I do the how to actually sew with the machine, I'll show it closer up if I can. So now that I have it here, let me try to close up a little bit. I'm going to bring my bobbin, and the bobbin has a little tiny hole in it on either side. You can use this either way. So you're going to get your thread and put it through one of those tiny holes from the inside of the bobbin out. This is so hard for me to do right now because I have to show it to you guys. Let me see here. So from the inside out, there we go. Okay, so now there's your thread, and it's from the inside to the out, and I'm holding that little outer area. Okay, so now what we're going to do is bring it over to this area over here. Let me move up a little bit, and you're going to place it on this silver little spool area. Now this has like a little clippy thing in it, if you can see that. There's like a little tiny hole there. What you're going to do is, this has a notch in it. Okay, so I'm holding onto the thread. There's a little the hole that we put the thread through. Opposite side of that, there's like a little notch, and you're going to kind of want to get that on there. It doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning. You can just place it and then kind of pop it. If you heard that little click, that's it. I'm still holding onto the thread pretty good, and as soon as I bring this little lever forward, which is the bobbin threader, it's gonna know to just start winding the bobbin. And it's gonna wind and keep winding until it's full, okay? So I guess you could stop it. I'm not sure if you have to press stop down here or what, but I didn't stop it. I just let it go, and it tells you there, just let it go and it'll automatically stop on its own. So I'm gonna hold on to this thread and bring that forward, and it's just gonna start going. And that's it. Now I can let go of the thread since it's gone. And I'm just gonna let it keep going until it stops. So it'll take about a minute or so. It just stops on its own, it just stops, and then it disengages on its own too, which is pretty cool. It just goes back where the beginning position. So I'm just gonna cut the spool off there, and you just pop it out. And this extra piece that's just kind of hanging out from when you first started it, you definitely want to cut that off because you don't want that to get in the way of your bobbin when you place it into the bobbin area there, because it can then get tangled up. So all I have left of this thread is very little. I'll probably just throw that away because honestly, what am I gonna do with this, So that's done. And there's our little cap. I'm gonna put it to the side. Now I'm gonna try to focus down here on the bobbin area. So let me try to readjust this and hopefully not make anyone too dizzy here. All right, perfect. So this is pretty cool. So when you have this in your hand, you want the thread to come out this way. Okay, do you see it's not going backwards, it's going out this way to the left, I guess. That's how you want it. You're gonna I put it back, so I'm gonna pop that back out. It does have pictures here for you guys if you you don't want to have to look in the manual later. This is super easy. This part is probably one of the easiest things. So again, the thread coming out to the left, I'm gonna place it right in the bobbin holder. There's a little tiny notch, and there's no use for me to close up because you're not gonna see it. It's like right on the inside of the silver metal that's on the bobbin area. You're just gonna get it in there and bring it to the left all the way so that it ends up in this slit. Do you see that slit right there? That's it. You're just gonna bring it to there. You can bring it all the way around if you want to the back. There's like a place where you can cut it automatically. So you just bring it, and if you can see the thread here, I just cut it off. That's it. And replace our plastic lid, and that's it. The bobbin's ready to go. It does it automatically on its own. So I am going to, at this point, I'm going to turn the machine off, which is silly, but we have to turn the machine off to get the embroidery arm on it and get everything ready. So let me go ahead and turn it off, and I'll reset when we're ready to embroider. It is easy for you to see. So we're going to disengage that regular sewing arm, and we're going to put on the embroidery arm. So all we're going to do is just pull this guy out. This one comes out without having to do anything, unclipping anything. It just comes right out. I'm going to put it to the side over here. And then before we bring over our embroidery arm, you are going to open up this little slot here. And I already talked about that before in my last video. So we're just going to open it up because that's what's going to hook up the embroidery arm to this machine electronically. Hopefully you can see, in the old machines you had to put away the feed dogs. Now in this one it doesn't say to put away the feed dogs. It doesn't say anything about it. So I'm like, okay, are you supposed to do this or not? I mean, it's kind of weird. It says, the only time I read about feed dogs on here, other than, if there's a problem with your machine, is to disengage them if you're going to do free embroidery, darning, and something else. I can't remember. In the old machines, even if you're just going to embroider, you disengage the feed dogs. But I think this one kind of knows to override and not pop them up, because obviously the feed dogs aren't up, they're down normally. When you sew, they kind of move the fabric. So if you were going to disengage them though, it's right here. There's a little switch to bring them down, which means to disengage them or to let them do what they're going to do. I already embroidered and everything was fine, and it doesn't show that you're supposed to disengage anything, so I'm just going to put it back, hopefully. This is not good. Okay, this is hard to do. Let me try to clip that back. It's a little motion. You have to kind of push it down and back over. Okay, so feed dogs are just the way they are, just up, just leave them normal, like if you were sewing. And I'm going to bring my arm over, and let me back up just a little bit so you can see that. It's not a big deal, but you're just gonna bring this guy over. The machine is not on, okay? Do not put this on when the machine is on. It tells you there, like, don't do it. It's like a mortal sin, apparently, because, like, I don't know why, but it just says not to do that. And do not take it off when the machine is on. You have to turn the machine off to take this guy off. Anyway, so we're just gonna slide it in. It just clips in, and it makes the machine, like, way bigger than normal. But here we are. So now I'm gonna come back over to the front of the machine so you guys can see a little better what I'm doing, because then I gotta hook it up to the computer. So normally at this point, before I even turn the computer on, I would get my fabric ready to get it in the hoop and all that. This is a little bit different, and it says do not turn the machine on until I'm sorry, do not put the small hoop or the continuous embroidery hoop on until you turn the machine on. I guess if you're using a large hoop, it's okay, it doesn't matter. You can put it on first and then turn the machine on and all that. So I'm gonna wait because I'm gonna use a small hoop, so I'm gonna show you, and it doesn't matter when you put the hoop on it, honestly. So if you just wanna wait always until you turn on the machine, that's fine. So what you're gonna take is take your cord, that USB cord that your machine came with, and I already showed you the other day, this thick plug goes into the machine, kind of by the plug that turns the machine on. So I'm gonna plug that in, and I'm gonna take the other side and plug it into my computer, and I'm gonna go ahead and unwind it since I need. So I'm gonna put this in my USB port, wherever that is, there we go. Okay, machine still is not on. And now I'm gonna go ahead and turn the machine on. So I'm gonna just hit the on switch over here on the side. I know you can't see it, but it's gonna come on. And get things away from there because it's gonna engage this guy to be where it should be, like its home row, I guess, if you wanna call it. Okay, and right now the start stop light is on. It's on stop, it's red. It means it's waiting for you to tell it what to do, okay? I haven't put any embroidery thread in yet because I'm not sure what colors I need to use. They tell you on there to put the color or thread that you want before you send the item to the machine, okay? But that's something else, we'll talk about that in a second. So, now that it's ready, I'm just gonna leave it there waiting for me. I'm gonna use the small embroidery hoop, and I'm gonna put it on before I even open up the Futura software. That's up to you. You can open your software. When I did it earlier, it knew automatically that the small hoop was on there. I don't know if it always picks up which hoop is on there, but let me grab the products we need to get started.